Oh, what that dang. This is the voice of the patriot. And the voice of the patriot is the voice of the people, and the voice of the people is the voice of God. Here we don't criticize, but if we must criticize, we'll do it on one condition: to build and not to destroy. That is why we keep saying we are in the service of God and country. This is where we speak truth to power ultimately. My brother, my sister, this is the black power. Oh my God, have mercy, that you've been waiting for all this while. And I'm so excited to be with you. Now, my brother, my sister, the very first story we are looking at today is taken from Ghana Web. And it says 2024 elections. Presidential candidate drags Cheddar over recent apology to colonial masters. And I read it. Now, independent presidential candidate for the 2024 elections, Kofi Koranting, has criticized the New Forces presidential candidate Nana Kwame Bediako, popularly known as Cheddar, for apologizing to Europeans over the transatlantic slave trade. Now, Cheddar recently gave a speech at a venue that looked like the UK's parliament, where he apologized on behalf of Africans, referring to what he called their mistakes, which he claims have led to economic crisis. He also urged the UK Parliament to refrain from using foreign influence on African nations. In a post on X, formerly called Twitter, Cheddar stated, "I am the first African leader to apologize on behalf of African leaders for their mistakes, which have caused economic crisis, currency devaluation, stagnant development, etc. Apart from apologizing, I am also the first to present a petition on English soil in the UK Parliament, urging the world to refrain from using foreign influences to interfere in our political systems and instead to become our international commercial partners." However, Kofi Koranting, displeased with Cheddar's actions, took to social media to express his disapproval. He stated, "Apologies are only due to the Ghanaian youth whose futures have been jeopardized by siphoned resources and arrested development, not to our colonial masters." How do you apologize to the same people who categorically planned your underdevelopment and continue to support corrupt regimes? So it is very clear, Cheddar is a learner who is too arrogant to accept that is a learner. That's the truth. I prefer to call him the fake Pan-Africanist. My brother, my sister, first and foremost, let us look at the terminology. Colonial masters. Why don't you rather call them your colonial administrators rather than saying colonial masters? By calling them colonial masters, ask me who made them masters over us. A true Pan-Africanist will not use the term colonial master. It's a colonial administration headed by colonial administrators, my brother, my sister, who took over our land's administration. They were in no way our masters. Put this aside. Let us go into the content of the whole story. So according to this story, Cheddar went all the way to a place that looked like the British Parliament. I'm very happy that the news item is being careful, because in these times, we have a lot of 419 people who can go into any corner and come out and tell us they are in the British Parliament or the American whatever. My brother, my sister, it is what it is. Watch this. Cheddar is apologizing to the Europeans. My brother, my sister, and let me quote him properly as he wrote here on X. My brother, my sister, I am the first African leader to apologize on behalf of African leaders for their mistakes, who have caused economic crisis, currency devaluation, stagnant development, etc. So you can just tell that Cheddar has not read the book, How Europeans Underdeveloped Africa. He hasn't read it. He doesn't have an idea that there's a book like that. Anybody who has read this book will know exactly that it is a planting by Europeans to devalue us, devalue our economy, so we would always run to them to ask them for freebies. They want to continue to rule us. They want to continue to see us as their chattels. My brother, my sister, if he had read the book, The Economic Hitman, I am sure that he would not be going all the way out to apologize on whose behalf. And here he is boasting that he's the first Ghanaian leader or African leader. My brother, who is Cheddar leading? Is he leading #1 Oxford Street workers? Or he's leading New Force movement? You see, we are so much in a hurry to call ourselves leaders. We are only taking a walk because nobody is following us. If a man claims to be a leader, he should be able to show people who are following him. If you are taking a walk, you can't call yourself a leader. You are only taking a walk because nobody follows you. My brother, arrogant Cheddar is saying that he's the first African leader to go to the British Parliament to apologize on behalf of African leaders, by whose mistakes we are right here where we are. So who are you apologizing to? Europeans? You have agreed that African leaders have made mistakes and they are silly, and these mistakes are causing Europeans to do what? Suffer in what ways? You see the ignorance. Why are you apologizing to Europeans and the European Parliament on behalf of African leaders who have made mistakes? Mistakes that cost Europeans what? These are perpetrated actions by Europeans to see Africans always on their knees. And I agree with Kofi Kurantin. It's only ignorance that will make a black man run to the British Parliament and be apologizing on behalf of African leaders. Apology for what? What have we done to hurt Europeans? Europeans came into our country, our peaceful land, and enslaved us, stole our gold and stole our diamonds. And when we cried for them to return that, they gave us just tinklets. They gave us back only tinklets, necklaces and bracelets, and kept the pot of gold to themselves. They stole our cow, and when we demanded to have the cow back, they gave us the hoofs of the cow and told us that it's aid. How do you steal my cow and return the hoofs to me and tell me that these are aids you are sending to me? No Pan-Africanist, no true Pan-Africanist would behave the way Cheddar has behaved. And I've said it time and again. This guy is an ignorant Pan-Africanist who is not humble to learn. And when you try to teach him a few things, he gets angry because nobody ever stands up to him because he thinks he has money. And when you say this, a few idiots will sit aside and say, oh, he hates him. Oh, Blakk Rasta hates. Hate who? For what? What about him can anybody hate? The arrogance or the ignorance? My brother, same way we're talking about this guy, we talk about other people. Yeah? Other people in the same shoes. We have no time to hate. Hate is a strong word. To Cheddar, please take your time and learn. Don't be so much in a hurry to be a leader. Learn. You claim you're a Pan-Africanist. You ran to the British Parliament. You were apologizing to Europeans on behalf of African leaders for the mistake African leaders made. That made us have devalued currencies and undeveloped nations. I don't get it. I don't get it. If you have any apology, apologize to God for creating us wise, yet we are behaving stupid. You don't go to the British that is always looking for the downfall of Africa. Have you read The Economic Hitman? Every time we have gold and diamond, they keep hovering around here. Oil and the rest, they keep hovering around here. And all they are looking for is nothing but the natural resources. They give us loans, and our silly leaders take those loans. And when it's time to pay, they don't have it. So Europeans, Americans, and all those people they come back and take our gold and our diamond. This is no hate speech. It is not hate speech, my brother. It's not a racist teaching. It is glaring like the moon in the night. I leave it here. Now the next thing I want to look at is another thing that I honestly didn't want to look at, because the man involved is a man that I respect so much, and it's a man that has laid hands on me and prayed for me and prophesied to me before. Archbishop Salfo Amoako. Archbishop Salfo Amoako was a Muslim. He was supposed to be an imam. What in the local zongos they call the liman. In fact, he was supposed to be the Busanga chief imam in Kumasi. If I am right, a tribal chief imam. It was around that time, in fact, he converted to Christianity because of a man who took very good care of him. Later in life, as he served this man, he also got his own anointing after the death of this man of God. At the end of the day, this man did not know how to read, neither did he know how to write. He was stark illiterate. In fact, one of the things that made him almost ditch Christianity was the English language that was spoken in church. He would go to church, brofunkwa, and he went back telling people that, Charlie, sorry, Charlie, brofunkwa, mesuminti brofo. Anka Muslim no cry, ye kwa ka hausa kakra miti. Ye cry ka busanga, no, dear brofunkwa minti. Somebody said, no, there's a church that speaks tree. He started going to the church that spoke tree, and that was how he remained in the faith of Christianity. Today, he's one of the most renowned. He's one of the most anointed men of God. And if you have ever attended any of the office services, you will see him prophesy the mind of God without apology. This man is called Salfo Amoako. I've interviewed him a couple of times. Before I came into the studio, I sent him a phone call to find out from him if this report here represents him accurately. He couldn't answer. I left a message with him, no answer. So we still have to go ahead and deal with it like we would have done with it. My brother, my sister, this one is taken from Ghana Web, and he says, who born you by mistake? Salfo Amoako claims police can't touch him for driving without license. And I read, Ghana Web has seen a viral video on social media where Pastor Archbishop Salfo Amoako discusses how he drives in the country without a driver's license. While we Ghana Web cannot verify the exact timeline of when the remarks were made, the pastor is heard in the video seemingly boasting that no police officer can arrest him for driving without a license or number plate, adding that the officer risks losing their jobs. In my country, when the police see me, they salute and call me General. Without a driver's license and a car number plate, I have been driving, he said. Who born you by mistake to stop me? Because if you stop me, I'll call your boss, he told his congregation. Now the revelation comes in the wake of a tragic road crash at East Legon, a suburb of Accra, on Saturday, October 12, 2024, which resulted in at least 2 people being burnt to death. My brother, my sister, as I said, Salfo Amwako is a renowned man of God. Now, Ghana Web that published this cannot verify adequately when these remarks were made and in what context. My brother, but let us look at it in our own perspective. My brother, there was a time Reverend Isaac Owusu Bempah became so pompous and arrogant that he went all the way to Agrada's place with his church members. And when he went there, news came out that some of the members were even holding guns. As to whether those guns were registered or not, we have not been able to adequately verify and confirm. And we heard Reverend Isaac Owusu Bempah say on camera that no policeman in Ghana could ever arrest him. He used the word over the bar. If he would allow himself to be arrested, then Agrada must be arrested. It was a time he and Agrada, a fetish priestess who had converted in quotes to Christianity, had come out to say some nasty things about Reverend Isaac Owusu Bempah. And he lost his cool and marched his church members to her house. While she was standing on top of the house fenced, she also replied whilst they exchanged words. But the police took notice of what Reverend Isaac Owusu Bempah said. And they took a cue from that and arrested him, my brother, my sister, for the wielding of guns and some other such things. In fact, he was in a very bad light. They chained him to his hospital bed and he got so angry. I applauded the police for keeping law and order, even though they probably went extreme by chaining a sick man like that to his bed like that when he was so weak and sick. My brother, my sister, Salfo Amwako here is saying almost the same thing. He's bragging to his congregation that no man born of a woman could ever arrest him on the streets of Ghana. By whatever power he wills, he says, you can't arrest me who born you by mistake. Because anywhere they see me, they call me general and let me pass without a number plate. I don't even have a driver's license. And to sum it all, he says that if you dare stop him, he will call your boss and your boss will sack you. My brother, Salfo Amwako doesn't have any education. He doesn't have a classmate. No. At least Reverend Isaac Owusu Bempah has a classmate in me. Me and him sat in the same classroom. Salfo Amwako says it every time. He doesn't have a classmate. He's never sat in a classroom. He learned everything on the street. But my brother, there's natural wisdom which is outside formal education. I expect that the man of God would have that. If you boast that no policeman can stop you for breaching laws, it doesn't make you a superman. It only means that you live in a country that is lawless and that you are lawless yourself. If I were part of that congregation, I would walk out. These are the people who preach that God would make you so rich without working. Just get up and pray and pray. What prayer can do for you, work can never do for you. These are the people who preach that anointing oil on your head is enough to make you rich without you going out there to work. My brother, this is terrible. The Muslim counterparts would also tell you that Islam says that when you build a mosque, God is going to build you a house in Jannah. In other words, in heaven. So you go to Nima and there are over 200 mosques there. No hospital. Everybody is building a mosque. So God will build them a house in heaven. I wish it was said that if you build a hospital, God, or a school, God will build a house for you in heaven. By now there would have been schools and hospitals all over Nima. But Islam says, when you build a mosque, God will build a house for you in heaven. And some people have taken it so literal. The Malams are preaching it so deeply. If you go to a Malam right now in Nima and ask him, I want to build a hospital, but I'm also thinking about building a school. And then I'm also thinking about a mosque. Which one should I build? The Mala will tell you, go and build a mosque, because God will build a house for you in heaven. So the people become more and more illiterate. They become more and more sick. They die early before they even reach Jannah. My brother, in all the Zongos, every 2 centimeters you find a mosque. To the point that when there was even an opportunity to build for the Zongo, they opted for a huge mosque, which is standing there like a white elephant. How many people go there and pray early in the morning? In front of his house, there's already a mosque. There are 10 mosques surrounding his house in Nima. He wants to leave all those 10 mosques and go to the big mosque to pray. You say this and some Muslims get angry. Please, let's look deep into this. There's no hospital in Nima. More than 200 mosques there in Nima. When they are sick, you see people carrying them in taxis. Muma kwao, obi huo, yeah, muma kwa kuba mwanya shegu da boroba bananya wuche, shege bananya wuche da boroba, hey, back like that on the streets of Nima. Traffic. They are carrying the sick person to another hospital somewhere else outside Nima. If hospitals, better still, if mosques were hospitals, nobody will ever be sick in Nima. The whole area is full of mosques. No hospitals, no university. By now, there should have been a university of Nima. It doesn't matter even if it's Islamic University of Nima. There must be a university. No, there's no university. There's no secondary school even. Is there a secondary school in Nima? Nima SHS. Is there anything like that? I have not seen one. All I see is Nima, garbage, Bola, Warin Bangida. The other day I was looking for a direction to a place, and I got to Nima. I've told this story several times. I asked, can you direct me to so and so? So okay, okay, nka just straight ba, nka just straight, nka ji warin kashi, nka ji warin bangida, nka ji warin bangida, shake duba right, nka duba right, maka gan wani gota nan na wari, shake duba bayan ka duba bayan ka gan kaman akon bangida shi ba yara wari, bayan bangida nan gidan nan kenan. Yawa. I don't want to translate this. You don't want a translation. I bet you don't want a translation. Hey! That day, I looked around Nima and I told myself, do we have assemblymen here? Do we have an MP who represents? Is your duty just to build roads? Let us be able to talk to our people. We all learn from each other. My brother, that is what Self-Amakun is doing. Once you are anointed, nobody can stop you from breaking laws. What kind of preaching is that? What kind of people are you growing in your church? Even in England, even in England, was it the prince or the king, whatever it was, that he was? He drove on the streets carelessly. My brother, he broke traffic rules. He had his license and everything. But you know what they did? They took his license from him and stopped him from driving for a time. That is the King of England. That's what they did to him. Just last year. That's what they did to him. It's not only Salfo Amoako, Archbishop Salfo Amoako. Anybody who believes that he's somebody in the society, when the police stops them, they get angry. As if to say, I don't know, as if his face was a driver's license. When they ask them for driver's license, they even get more angry. They look at the policeman as if to say, Aden, we are crossing yana, unimiana. Aden, Mam Quam free uncle, Fianco, Befro boss what? Shedding him being unity say pintoa. My God. This is the arrogance, the stupidity that we carry in our country. How would the country grow? These are the same people who go to the church and the mosque to pray that the country grows. How can it grow when you are so lawless? Every religion preaches discipline. Yet we are so indisciplined. We are the most indisciplined people. Islam preaches discipline. Go to the jailhouses and see how many Muslims are in there. Christianity preaches discipline. Yet the most indisciplined people are Christians. Go to the jailhouses and see how many Christians are in there, my brother. It's so sad. Please stop preaching like this. It's illiteracy. It's not good preaching. It's arrogance. And if I were the police from now, I'll start looking for Salfo Amoako. If I were the police from now, every place he drives, we will stop him and ask him for his driver's license. We'll see if he's driving a car without a number plate and take drastic action. It's an indictment on the police. Even me, when I drive on the street, I'm a nobody, but the police always salute me. 99% of the time, they don't ask me for a driver's license. But I make sure that my driver's license is okay. I have a fire extinguisher in my car. I even have air freshener in my car. Yes, and water in my car. Hey, any police barrier I reach, I roll down my glasses and I greet them. Before I leave, I say, oh, thanks for a good job. And they always like it. It doesn't make you less of a human being. Does it make you less of a human being? Let's be careful. Don't mistake respect. Don't mistake respect for power. In Kumasi we say, "Enfa ahomobro enye." I leave it there. Now the last thing I would like to look at, and I promise I'm not going to take even up to 4 minutes. And this is from Ghana Web. Interesting things. Hey, this country. Ha ha ha. This one is taken from Ghana Web. And it says, how Mahama tricked NPP into choosing Bawumia over Alan and Kennedy, Japan. Wow. How Mahama tricked the NPP into choosing Bawumia over Alan and Kennedy, Japan. And this is Amaliba explaining. And I read, now the Director of Legal Affairs for the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, Abraham Amaliba, has claimed that the party's flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama, strategically misled the NPP with his statements, leading them to choose what he describes as a weak candidate for the 2024 elections. Now, according to Amaliba, Mahama's remark that the NPP would never allow a Northerner to lead the party prompted the NPP to support Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia. By now, if Ken Ejapon has seen this, he'll be shouting, I said it! I said it! Memo mu showdown! By now, that is somewhere shouting, Memo mu showdown! dare me, read my lips. By now, Kennedy Japan is shouting all over the place. As for our lunch, Martin, he will say, hey, say, my catch them. My catch them will say, Nkrofowi. But I applaud Mahama if this is true. You know why? This is a very tribalistic party. This party was founded in the palace of the Otumfo. Does it make it tribalistic? No! Should I go forward and explain? My brother, this was a party that was created right there in the home of the Asante Hini, the palace. And you know the aim of the party, the NLM. They were called the National Liberation Movement. The man who founded it, aside the Otumfo at the time, was called Osei Bafuakoto. You know what they said? They said it was the party that was going to break away from the whole nation. All Asantes should join the party so they would break away from the rest of Ghana. That was their slogan. Their motto was Yatiahon, and the sign was like this. 2 fingers in the hand. You open it like, yeah, it just said, we say, Yatiahon. You meet each other like that. Yatiahon. That makes it a tribalistic party. Nkrumah decided to ban all tribalistic parties. He banned the Gan Shikome party, banned the LLM, and so on and so forth, including the Muslim Brotherhood Party, the Northern People's Party, and so on and so. They were all kind of, racist parties. My brother, that's the roots of the NPP. It's common knowledge. Look at what Napo is going around saying. If you are an Ashanti and you live in Ashanti region and you vote for the NDC, why? Because when Mahama was in power, he sacked some 2 Ashantis, including Dufour and some other person. For that matter, he hates Asantis. What kind of campaigning is this? Tribalism, wickedness, infantility. So this is how our politics has descended so low. Asantifo, say we are Asantini, and now we are Asante region. Now to my NDC. Nyami betchauka. Because when Mahama was in power, he sacked some 2 Asantis. Look at this kind of inflammatory talk, irresponsible talk. And this guy is a medical doctor. Who trained him? No wonder the Asantini himself is beginning to dissociate himself spiritually from Napo. After all, what did he do? He endorsed him. 20 seconds later, he was on stage demeaning everything that Asantini said about him. What a shame. So if Mahama said that this party, this is how they are, they will never allow a Northerner to lead, I'm glad that the party proved it wrong. I'm so happy. For the first time, we have a Northerner who is leading a party that has Northerners in the minority. Am I not excited? It means our democracy is growing. So I applaud the NPP. And I applaud Mahama for giving them the challenge. Now they have picked up a Northerner. In the past, they have had vice, north, just to get votes. Now, at the helm of the affairs is a Northerner. And because of that, Alan Kay decided to walk off because he thought it was time. I drew Misu. Okay. Please, I'm not going to spend time on this, as I said. I want to leave it here. Congratulations to Mahama for forcing them to bring in a Northerner, even if he was weak like carbonic acid. I am okay. I I'm not going to judge him as a northerner. I'm going to judge him by the content of his character and his ability. I don't see northness. I don't see sadness. I don't see eastness. I don't see westness. I see human beings. If I ask you, oh, where do you come from? It means I just want to learn about your area. I love to learn, but not to be able to tribalize you or put you in a corner. No, I don't do that. To God be the glory.
Cheddar.